Hello everyone. I would like to talk about today a new renaissance. And what that really means is that human consciousness is going through a sense of being and transition that the plant is no longer having the awareness of the seed. And so the seed is sprouting into new forms. And what that means is man is finding in his ability to be inspired by art an ability to confront greater realities of presence and understanding. And so where does presence and understanding come from? And before we can even think of a renaissance, we need to see where we are. And the way I view man, I'm just one man. However, the way I view it is that human consciousness is not being inspired enough. It is not being moved enough. And so it has been building this innate urge to explode into new realities of presence and being. And so what that means is that now it is the time for you, if you know yourself to be an advanced communicator, to no longer fear the unknown, but to love it and work with it. And so with that, you are always working with your inspiration. Inspiration is actually your knowing expanding. And so as your knowing expands itself, you have found a very pleasant freedom. Now, how we begin again is to really see that we are present right now. And so I am not with you. I am simply a voice found over some medium, okay? So I am not here to teach you, to in a sense move you or do something for you. I am here simply talking my own talk, but I am talking to everything. And because I'm talking to everything, so listen to me in the sense that you can extract value from my words, and so know that it will be your value you're extracting, do you know? So in a sense what I'm saying is that you are always within the moment found anew. And so as you are, you begin recognizing the different variations and the different methods you have in really finding out who you are. No man can free itself if he does not feel he is free. Because you're always kept in a certain range of behavior. In other words, your responses are even a certain range of behavior. And so how can man respond anew? By recognizing where his condition and circumstance is. And so this is the power truly found in a very transcendent manner through meditation, where you recognize you are suddenly remembering that you can realign yourself with a greater observance of life. And this is required, it is necessary, because once you do that, you see that, funny enough, instead of running to knowledge, instead of trying or searching or moving or in a sense panicking for something, if you simply remain still, you would see what flows are working with you. And so you see the designer's mind begins to see what other applications of his product are present in where he wants to create something. So what that means is that I'm not here to create a new design. I simply see what is made here and where it's heading, and simply allow my being to be a more expressive communication of that. And that is simply where your intuition is pushing you. Because your intuition to you has a hierarchy and external system. It feels like your guides or whatnot, but in its uttermost direct experience has the nature of gas, where the liquid or the solid bodies have never been conceived and never need to be conceived. So an aspect of existential confrontation does appear in your disappearance in that manner. So now a new renaissance means that the artist has been using the same colors too long. And so man is hungry for greater experiences. Even our cinemas are showing more 3D movies, right? So those 3D movies, it's very interesting for me. We pay that much to go see it, but for free, you can internally simply observe and simply think of something, but let the thinker dissolve into thought and simply see what is present. And when you see what is present, you're always the greater observance that has the freedom to move beyond it. You see, the problem with how the human being really falls into the hole of suffering is when he does not see his whole. You're not seeing the holistic intelligence that holds you. You're not seeing the existential attention that is inspiring you, that in a sense is your being, in other words. So remember, man within this plane of existence, just like any being that is conceived, is carrying a very great beacon. You are carrying not just history, but existential knowing within you. Very collective existential knowings. What that means is that you know how to do certain things that are not even here in this plane. What that means is that, in other words, so if you become more self-aware and more able to, with your own intuitive and trust in life, interact with your subtler realities, you see that you are part of that co-creation. So it's not that you are being affected by bad ideas. Suddenly you are present. You are there in where conception is being, in a sense, made. And so if the hammer is being crashed too hard, you immediately stop. Do not bash yourself with your own judgment because you cannot see through another's eyes and you're creating how life is seeing you. Understand that it is important to have physical judgment. It is important to know right and wrong, and especially the way you as a being decided to, in a sense, get your conditioning. So a lot of people also, in certain contexts, see conditioning as a bad thing. But at the same time, in certain contexts, it's just preparation in a certain unique way. What that means is that you, as a very compassionate self-awareness, immediately realize that you are not the body of shapes, the body of ideas, and the things that are, in a sense, present. When we have an awareness of presence beyond personality, guys, that means you are experiencing yourself in a way that you have never seen before. And so there's a new sense of, in a sense, presence. It's very vast. It is very unspeakable. But it is definitely something to experientially allow yourself to know. What that means is that if you're suddenly put in a battlefield, and you're in the battlefield and you don't know how to shoot, you've never held a weapon, and people are running, immediately what you do is not run, but in a sense, look around you and see how people are holding their gun. Look at who is surviving and who is not. Look at the battalion, look at where you are. Know strategy by simply looking at how the strategy is expressing itself. You will see that your preparation in this life is your knowing to be that which you are. You are it. And we want to have a very graceful way of navigating through realities, because man is considering in himself, oh, I'm only this thing. But then he's suddenly seeing other things and he's like, wait a minute, can I be these other things? And so his mind is, in a sense, freaking out for no reason, because he is keeping reason to a non-linear intelligence. A non-linear intelligence means that if I've been only drawing straight lines my whole life, I suddenly see a curve. And that is just the most beautiful thing, because I know it will inspire many roller coasters and many ways that shape can come to others. When you acknowledge yourself as a communicator in this life, as someone who is not just communicating words, but is communicating existence, expression, presence, you begin to see what is really valuable. And self-understanding is valuable, especially in a generation that cannot know if truth is true or not. We need to be playful. Our mind not need to, the pilots of consciousness do not only need an awareness of a capable vision. In other words, you need to be very mindful to the many different ways you approach idea. You need to see that you must let reality express itself to you. And that means trust life. Trust this moment. In other words, don't try to rationalize what I'm saying. Just see that you're present, you're alive, you're existing. And so, existential alignment is your birthright. And it is not just the birthright of the human being, it is the birthright of any form in this conception, in this dimension. Because it is, in a sense, how man is playing a game. There are greater collective visions that also very gracefully are playing a game as well, but they're also aware beyond the game. So what that means is that if man suddenly begins to see that, wait a minute, it's not just me, I'm the planet in a galaxy. So if man is beginning to see things beyond him, then he must not have a problem with ideology that suggests he's small. You do not want to get, you see, it's as if our sciences today are approaching reality in the way that they're saying we are not small, but let's use methods of breaking things apart to figure out what things are, right? Man's psychology is moving towards a realm where his existential evolution is giving him more possibility. So what you will realize that in like a certain amount of years, you will no longer be bothered by these questions of is it truth, is it not truth? Because man is reaching certain levels of simultaneous multi-present existence where you can see that your fantasy can also be experienced in a real way if you can acknowledge your subtler bodies of presence. And these subtler bodies means that, okay, I saw my Apple iPhone get updated. How is the operating system of man's mind updating? And in a sense, whoa, you're just in a sense thrown into this chaotic world of deep questions because you are seeing a nature of yourself that is telling you there's more, and walk. And so in life, you're always walking, and it is important for you to walk with joy, to walk with grace, and to walk in a way where if some random being just came on this planet and was just invisibly watching us, they'd be like, wow, I am learning from how these beings are thrown into such separation, but in a sense, becoming bridges of collectivity. You will see that it is a playful understanding that once man begins to get comfort with his world will, in a sense, run to him. Existence will, in a sense, play with you because your nature is playful. And so there have been many methods. There have been methods of everything. But I'm saying there is a way of approach before you approach methodology, which if you simply take the word playfulness and take the word trust in direct experience, you will see that there was never a need for an idea to tell you you're an idea. Do you see that? And so enlightenment becomes simply getting rid of the dust on your shoulder, and now man is ready to create. Now that's the advanced communicator. Because you see, certain beings who are tapped into the collective, they have access to simultaneous presences. So what that means is that after you have an ability to time travel, let's say suddenly we learned how to time travel, after you get an ability of traveling from one sense of space and time conception to another sense of space and time conception, at the end of it, you will see that because you have an ability to go everywhere, you become playful, and so you blend. And so once an ordered system has reached the peak of its order, it will see that it is always a new introduction into the chaos. So do not fear chaos. Do not let human culture in general, not even specifics, human culture to tell you that the human being is limited. Your being is never limited. Your being exists with the omnipotence, the omniscience, and omnipresence of existence. And so it is okay for you to roar once you know that the king of all existence is the moment of your conception, and you must be willing to, in a sense, as they have said in many traditions, to surrender all ideology, to surrender all illusion into a world where you are saying, I am now ready to feel my presence. And so there's a silence that is shouting louder than any word. And it is there where when someone looks into your eyes, when other beings look into your eyes, they will say, this is a new renaissance in human consciousness. This is a new renaissance in how an aspect of existence is blending into its collectivity. Do not doubt the individual, for he is kept by his collective knowing. And very playfully, you will see that man at this stage is at the most exciting time. Trust me. Any person who thinks that their life is so boring because they're constantly watching TV and doing mediocre things, your life is not boring. Gosh, if you just pay attention and become sensitive into how you're experiencing life and suddenly seeing that the present moment is the gift, you will, in a sense, suddenly activate yourself with a greater sense of purpose. So what that means is that you will suddenly see that was the glow in the shaman's eyes, because there never was a shaman. There was just a collective inspiration to be expressed when there was complete trust and existential allowance. And once the lion hears his roar, he is then able to move beyond that jungle. And so all kings will put down their crowns to see that the moment was really all there was. However, a moment that could conceive any other moment. And so this is where a multidimensional sense of existential acknowledgement is important. Much blessings, and trust me, your intuition will show you how everything that is present in this dimension is part of a new renaissance. Simply appreciate with the playfulness of your nature that clarity, you can in an instant bring a world of clarity, in an instant bring a world of illusion, and you're playing because you are a greater designer of existence, a greater designer that is self-aware to a degree that that self can be present in many ways. And so I hope that the newest colors that you find are all present in the one color you need. For the knowing of self was always there to be. Namaste.